ask questions. Shut up and listen.
How about that one? That's a gold nugget right out of the gate, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shut up and ask questions. Ask questions and then shut up and listen.
So you used to knock on the door, they'd answer, and you would just vomit everything you knew on them at first. And then it took 2 years before you just figured out a couple of questions that got people talking. And
What was your best question you thought, like,
Well,
this is the question I'm going to use all the time?
Well, let me tell you a quick story. We have a telemarketing department with set appointments for us. So I remember the guy's name, I think it was Robert. And his wife set the appointment. Mr. Roberts answers the door. He goes, this is Frank with Dex & Moore. I'm here to talk to you about the ADT, alarm system you're talking about. And he goes, Frank, I don't know what the hell this is about. My wife set this appointment. I don't know what this, I'm not buying anything. And I go, sir.
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop.
Oh boy, here we go again. Small Business Safari back in, and Alan is sitting here shaking his boots. He thinks he's in an episode of Goodfellas because he's got a lot of Italian testosterone going on in the room. We got a lot going on. I brought my paisan in, Frank Pologruto, to make sure that we got Alan all fixed up. But before we get to Frank, I said, Alan, I was going to tell you that I went somewhere.
yeah, where did you go?
I went where all Italians in America go on their third trip.
Jersey City.
No, that's their second trip. So third trip, Chicago, baby.
Oh.
Yeah. And so you're like, oh, you must have had deep dish pizza. No, I went to Gibson Steakhouse, which is a Chicago icon. And I had somebody tip me off to that. So I went there and I did. I had a steak at Gibson Steakhouse. And man, you want to talk about great customer service? This is great customer service in persona. I walk in. I was just by myself. I was up there for a conference. Nothing glitzy or glamorous, but I go in, they immediately sit me at the bar, a high top table. Before I sit down, lady asks me my drink order. I get my drinks right away. I ask for a martini, right? I figured, if I'm going to go high style, baby. And before as I got my drink, she's got me the menu. I perused the menu, asked me if I had any questions. Of course, I had to chat her up a little bit. She wasn't exactly not pleasing to the eye, exactly as it were. So I had to talk to her, and I was by myself. I'm like, what the hell? So I did it and had a great steak and a great time, and then went back to do the networking that I was up there to do. So great time in Chicago.
Ate the steak at the bar.
I did.
With the martini. That is old school. I like it.
Right? And yes. I did. All I could keep thinking through myself was, is my back against the wall? Because we are in Chicago. No. All right. So we have Frank Pologruto in. Frank is the owner of Dex & Moore here in Atlanta. I've known Frank for, as soon as I'm about to say that, I don't know, 10 years? Roughly, it's been a while. Yeah. So Frank, welcome to the Small Business Safari. We're going to not only educate, but we're going to entertain, going to have some fun with Frank as he talks about his biz and how he's grown to the size he is. And wait till you hear how size is one thing.
You're going to make a big deck joke. So
oh, this is going down. Yeah. I mean,
it's his favorite thing, Frank.
It is.
I mean, yeah.
Oh God. And Frank has a beautiful deck. Again. Yeah, beautiful deck. He builds.
Are you envious of Frank's deck?
I have Frank deck envy.
Yeah. Okay.
Frank, welcome to the show. Looking forward to it. So, Frank, where the hell are you from originally?
Originally, I grew up in New Jersey, little town called Berlin. I was born in Camden, New Jersey, and I'm part of the Northeast. Loved it.
So, building decks, was that in your blood? You did that right when you came out of high school, or what'd you do after that?
Well, realistically, I'll tell you the story. When I was a kid, there was a TV show. It was called This Old House with Bob Vila, Norm Abrams. I fell in love with it. I was 14 years old, fell in love with it. And then when I went to high school, I was taking shop classes and college prep classes. And the guidance counselors, I laughed. They said, you're not really cut out for college, this and that. We recommend this, we recommend that. So I got scared, and I ran and joined the Army for 6 years.
That's a good place to run to.
Yeah.
He says that, but Frank is a proud veteran, and of course, we thank you for your service and what you did.
Thank you very much.
He does make the jokes about in being in the service. He's told me many of them offline. Some of them not probably ready for prime time, but obviously it was a great turning point for you. And he always called himself Private Pologruto. So, did you ever get above private?
Yes.
Okay, thank God. Yeah. After 6 years, I'm hoping.
I came in as a private, left as a sergeant, and it was a great experience. I didn't even realize the leadership skills I was getting and the life skills I was getting until probably when I started my own business.
So you came out of the Army. Let's talk about that. What did you do when you came back?
I worked my way through college. Basically, I made a commitment to myself. I go, if I get into college, I'm going to leave the Army and make another career. If I didn't get in college, I was going to re-up. So I was kind of talking to the re-up sergeant and, applying for colleges. So I applied to one college, Shepherd College out of West Virginia, because I was stationed at Fort Ritchie, Maryland. And then also another college called Towson State University, right outside of Baltimore. Got accepted to both, and then I jumped for joy when I got the acceptance letters. I had a way out, at least I thought in my own mind. And, I love the service. I love what we did, but also felt like some people were getting, trapped in, complacent. You get a regular paycheck, you do this, you do that, but I knew there was so much more for my life.
Did you ever deploy anywhere?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Right after advanced and basic training was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri for 6 months.
That's a humid place, isn't it?
Yes.
Hot and sticky, baby.
Yeah.
Hot and sticky.
We called it Fort Lost in the Woods.
Oh.
Yeah, hot and sticky. Speaking of decks. All right, keep going.
Yeah. Oh, God.
So then I got shipped over to Panama, and they were ousting this guy called Noriega, who was he was supposed to be our friend, but he was more friends with the drug lords and got him in a whole bunch of hot water. And here it is. We got an invasion. Our unit was called the 536 Engineer Battalion. It was so brand new, we didn't even have rifles. So they laughed at me. We're going to give you a rubber rifle. You're guarding the bridges of America on the Pacific coast, and you got to let our vehicles go by. Don't let any other vehicles go by. And I go, Sarge, what are we going to do if we get shot at? Just duck. Just duck.
They literally handed you a rubber rifle?
Our unit was brand new. We were just forming up. And then he goes, the general came by. General Kinzer loved this. He goes, don't worry, soldiers. We're going to get you the rifles. Just let you know, we got infantry over here. We got the 82nd over here. We got I can't tell you what the special forces are. But you're covered in a blanket.
I can't tell you where the special forces are.
I'm like flabbergasted. So does our military have like a warehouse of rubber rifles somewhere just in case
I know
Frank joins and they need to give him
he's told me this story so many times. That's why I'm glad he brought this one up, because it's funny, but they were the engineer battalion, not supposed to be shooting people, but also if being shot at, you have no opportunity to shoot back.
Yes.
You just pew, 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 pew.
Pew.
But there was always there was always a little pot shot going out, but it was just a single shot. But most of it was, all that stuff was really a 5-day war. I mean, they had a plan. They executed it. The Rangers, the special forces. I mean, there was this thing where the special forces got hung up on a tarmac and took some hits. But I mean, it was a 5-day war.
I haven't heard the name Noriega in a long time. It used to be a reference on the golf course. Did you ever hear that one?
No, go ahead.
So you leave a putt just short in the jaws, and you're like, oh, that's a Noriega. Just needed one more revolution.
Oh, hey, I got another one for you. I just learned.
What's that?
You ever been in the bunker? You play golf, right, Frank?
Not really, but I know what the bunker is.
All right, go. Thank you. All right, so you try to hit out of the bunker and it stays in, and then you hit out, and the guy goes, the old Adolf Hitler. 2 shots in the bunker. I'm like, oh, there we go. Okay, so we digress. And now you've all picked up another line.
And then there's the prom queen, but I won't do that one.
Whoa.
Nope.
Yeah. No.
Go ahead. Anyway, so Frank.
Right. So back to Frank in Panama. Coming. So he does Noriega, but then he comes back stateside. So after Noriega, we didn't have a lot going on because there were no wars at that point.
Well, there was Desert Storm, the first one.
So were you in when Desert Storm?
I was in, but I was over in Panama, and they go, no, we're going to give Private Pologruto his rubber rifle. He's going to stay here.
Okay.
That would be the Peter principle, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were in, what years were you in?
From 1989 to 1995.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a lot going on because I was in school. I was in college at the time, and one of the guys that was in the house I lived in was on the GI Bill. And up until the Noriega or the Desert Storm, we just didn't have a lot of conflicts going on. No. So the GI Bills looked really awesome to kids in the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. For a lot of us, because you're like, hey, you go in, you do your time, and you come out, you get this GI Bill. And again, back then, nobody was thanking you for your service. Everybody's still kind of smarting from the Vietnam thing. And it wasn't, it was just it was a means to an end for many of us. And I didn't choose that route, but he did. When it went down, we had to put a note in our house that says, do not answer the phone like an asshole. It said right on it, do not answer the phone like an asshole. George may be called up. Answer the phone. And if it's for George, he had 24 hours to respond. Because this is, and he got the call.
Who wrote that note?
I don't remember who wrote it, but we put it right above the note. I was the house bitch, so okay, maybe I wrote it. I did too. So he got called up. And man, he was a driver. So he was a tank truck driver. And so he was like, if this goes, and that war was all about logistics. And so he was a fuel tanker driver. Mm-hmm. That was his specialty, was driving trucks. And they called him up so fast and he was gone. Man, you saw it. And that's the first time I think all of us sat there and went, oh, you can actually die doing this stuff. Right. I thought you just went in the army and did your time and you come back. Yeah,
because they had all their ads about go to college, join the military, go to college.
It was very kind of, it was hidden, it just wasn't a big deal. And now, everybody comes up and thanks you for your service a lot. And that was also not a thing people did in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, thank you very much, for having me here on the show. And like you said, it was an honor to serve. And, I try to help out and serve, the military community as much as I can.
Yeah, you do a great job with that too. So we got to get going. All right. So you come out, you go to school. You went to Towson State, or did you go to the other place in West Virginia?
Towson University, as they call it now.
I'm sorry, Towson University.
They had a big powwow that the state didn't give them much money, so they took the word state out of the university. Nice.
All right, so you get your degree, and then what do you do?
Yeah, so I went in I think in '95. So I had 67 days of leave saved up, so I got out a little bit early. Went to Towson. Did 3.5 more years of college, got out, and then I moved down here to Georgia. My best friend was down here, and but I'm skipping a step. When I was going to college, the best education I got was working my way through college. I did get the GI Bill, but it was only about $400 a month. It wasn't a lot of money. There was another program that made it a little bit more money, but I didn't sign up for it. I didn't know about it. But the main thing is I knocked door to door selling alarm systems.
Whoa.
ADT alarm systems. And that introduced me to a whole realm of motivational speakers.
Oh, sorry.
Sales. Good.
No.
The whole world of no.
The whole world of no.
Yeah. Yes.
You're knocking on doors, man. You were door-to-door sales.
Oh, God. And you know what? I embraced it. I was like, okay, I guess we had a good sales manager. You're going to get a lot of no's, but it's one more no to a yes, one more no to a yes, one more no to a yes.
We use the same thing in my own company today. Mm-hmm. Is that, you guys are trying to drive to a no, because once you get that no, you're just that much closer to another yes. So you did that. You did ADT sales, but you said one of the thing was the motivational speaker. So who were you going to plug on that?
I mean, like you said, when I went to this guy, Scott Icegrow, who basically took me under his wing, Zig Ziglar was a big one.
Yep.
But then, like I said, there was another guy, Tom Hopkins. There was Bryan Tracy. And then I listened. I wasn't a big fan of Tony Robbins like I am now, and then he referred to this guy, Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
And then I always go back, well, who did he learn from? Well, there's another guy, Earl Nightingale, Norman Vincent Peale. And it's like, it just opened up this whole, wow, there's all these different people talking about, positivity. Some guys were sales experts. Zig Ziglar was really in his faith, believer in God. And it just pulled me in.
I love it. So, of course, back in the day you're probably doing your Walkman, had your little headphones on, walking around, or plugging it in your cassette player in your car.
Yes.
And if you were cool enough to have a cassette player in your car.
It was cassettes and DVDs. Or like the CDs on audio.
Oh, wow.
And the bag phone.
Oh, the bag phone. Yeah, but he was doing door to door. Did you have a phone?
In the beginning, I didn't.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I did.
Nice.
Yeah. So I made enough money where, I couldn't believe I was knocking door to door, and I struggled. The first 2 years were horrible, barely making enough money to buy food. And then finally, 2 years into it, it clicked. And I remember making a deposit, and I was making like $1,200 a week. That's like 60 grand a year as a full-time college student. And I went to the bank, and this lady made a snide remark. Oh, this must be, your parents giving you money. I go, no, Miss Mary, I earned that money. I knocked door to door like this.
So what clicked? What could you have told you? What do you
Right.
wish you'd have told yourself?
Oh, good question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess it was, even back then I was more canned, salesy. I had a wealth of, I memorized like all the technical specs, and that was good to have in your back pocket. But ask questions, shut up and listen.
How about that one? That's a gold nugget right out of the gate, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shut up and ask questions. Ask questions and then shut up and listen.
So you used to knock on the door, they'd answer, and you would just vomit everything you knew on them at first. And then it took 2 years before you just figured out a couple of questions that got people talking. And
What was your best question you thought,
Well,
this is the question I'm going to use all the time?
Well, let me tell you a quick story. We have a telemarketing department with set appointments for us. So I remember the guy's name, I think it was Robert. And his wife set the appointment. Mr. Roberts answers the door. He goes, this is Frank with Dex & More. I'm here to talk to you about the ADT, alarm system you're talking about. And he goes, Frank, I don't know what the hell this is about. My wife set this appointment. I don't know what I'm not buying anything. And I go, sir, I totally understand. We're in a neighborhood. We're an educational company. We love to just educate you what's going on in the neighborhood. And then I got into the door. I was like, I can't talk about security. I can't talk. I got to talk about something else. So he had a picture. It's Baltimore. And he had a picture of Babe Ruth, a lot of Baltimore Orioles. I'm a baseball nut. I'm a connoisseur for baseball.
Okay.
So I just said, well, this is a great picture of the Orioles Park. What day was this? And then he went on about him and his father, and they went to the Baltimore Orioles game, and they met Cal Ripken, and they did this and they did that. And then he had a picture of a sailboat. I don't know much about sailing, but I know port side's left, starboard's right. I know what the mast is. I asked about that. So about 20, 30 minutes just talking about him. And then finally we broke, I guess we built the rapport.
Yep. You built rapport.
Yeah.
Back to the sales process. We're doing it right now.
Yeah.
In my company, and kind of going back to basics and bringing somebody in, somebody you actually know, Frank, Jeff Hanlon from Against the Grain. He's been trained in the Sandler sales process, and it's been really good because somebody else saying the same thing I was saying is starting to resonate better with the guys and with me. I mean, it's been good.
it's like with your kids.
Yeah, right. The TV dad always wins.
You're a complete stranger.
Yeah. That guy, this guy just told me that if I save my money, I won't run out of money. Oh, really, Sydney? Oh, wow. I mean, if you don't spend it and you save it, you actually won't run out of money. Oh, that's a wild freaking concept. Oh, did I go too far? All right, back to that. So you built rapport, but you learned your sales process, and then you came to Atlanta because you had a buddy here.
Yes.
With no job. You just said, hey, I'm going to come crash on your couch, and I'm going to figure something out.
Yeah, it was my best buddy, Frank Murphy, who I grew up with, in Jersey. I went to the military. He went to college, and then he was down here. I spent the 96 Olympics here, for the summer, and then I went back and then had to go finish college. It was a great time. I mean, that was Buckhead. It was a fun time. A lot of young people, and
you were young, single, looking to mingle.
Yes,
and you were in Buckhead. And for those again in Australia and Tasmania, Buckhead was kind of the nightlife area here in Atlanta at the time. If you were single and looking to mingle,
And there were 150 bars within a 3-block circle.
right?
Yes.
Johnny Hideaway is still there, by the way.
yes.
Why do I know that? Because
Somebody told you.
my wife went there. I'm like, do what? This is the lady who goes to bed at 9:00. Her friend came into town, and I fell asleep on the couch waiting for him. 3:00 they rolled in the morning. This is my wife who goes to bed at 9:00 every night. And so the next morning they got up to do their thing. And man, they look like death warmed over. So I'm like, hey, who needs bacon? Who wants eggs? And my wife doesn't eat any of that stuff. So she did not look so good. All right. So you're here.
Yeah.
You did the Olympics. Very cool.
Yep.
You got to get here, experience that. That's really cool.
Yep.
And then you went back.
Yeah, I went back, finished college, and then as soon as I graduated, I knew where I was going. And my buddy said, "Just finish college."
Johnny's Hideaway.
Yeah. And then January '99, I moved down here, and we had 3 guys. It was me, this other guy Trey, and my buddy Frank Murphy, and me, and living in a little 3-bedroom apartment, and we had a ball.
So what were you doing for a living?
I was first 3 months I was looking for a job, and then I got hooked up in the telecom field doing sales, and I was selling these long distance pagers. There's FM pagers for truck drivers, and then here I had to I called this a breakthrough, not a breakdown, but I'm living paycheck to paycheck and only got maybe $100, maybe $200 in the bank for like a 2-week period. And thank God nobody was home. And I looked up at the ceiling and I said, F this shit. I was like, I got to make more money to basically even just to function. And so then I got I was like, I had this company. It was another telecom company. Some buddies I said went to them, and I was making a little bit more money, but still in the same predicament. Then I finally jumped over to Quest Communications. Then I started making the 6-figure income. And then I got a wild hair up my butt. I bought a pickup truck. And once I bought the pickup truck, I knew I was destined to open up the business. And then about 6 months later, August of 2001, we incorporated Dex and More and never looked back.
Do you have what it takes to start your own business? Are you tired of the 9-to-5 corporate job and ready to make that leap into entrepreneurship? You need to check out From the Zoo to the Wild, the book by successful entrepreneur Chris Lalvani. This book is a unique perspective on the journey into the wild world of home services and delivering excellence in service while working in customers' homes. Lalvani shares his path to success in this industry, including proven customer relationship strategies, award-winning customer experience processes, and a unique approach to training a team of service technicians to perform at the highest levels. Whether you're a small business trying to scale or a franchise operation, From the Zoo to the Wild will give you the mindset, habits, leadership style, and customer-oriented processes to succeed as a small business owner in the world of home services. So if you're ready to take control of your future, get a copy of From the Zoo to the Wild today, available on Amazon.
All right. So when you say we incorporated it, was it just you?
It's just me.
Yeah. So, so while you're doing this whole telecom thing and you've been through this stuff, we didn't hear. Did you know how to build decks?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about construction at all.
Okay. Well, ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, let me tell you that story. My dad was a union electrician, and I was always helping my dad do stuff around the house. And like I said, loved this old house. We'd take out the wood windows, we'd scrape them down, repaint them. And like I said, we'd do stuff. And then my uncle was in, he did fire restoration jobs. So on a couple summers, I'd work with him, and then we would tear down half a house, reframe it, sheetrock, drywall, paint, windows. Sometimes they build an addition on the house. And so that really introduced me to, the construction field. And I really loved that. And I loved the TV show. And then, like I said, I was so afraid, maybe I should have followed that footsteps, but I went into the Army for 6 years, which was actually a blessing because it gave me so many leadership skills that I have today that I could never thank the military enough for what they taught me. And I'll share a couple of things, but that's the essence of, how I got started.
All right. So you bought the pickup truck and you said, man, I'm LLC, Dex and More, here I go. Did you quit your job, or was this a side hustle for a while? Tell us how you transitioned into it.
It was a side hustle. I had the pickup truck. My buddy was flipping houses, and I would go in and I would do little handyman stuff. Okay. Put some trim over here, some drywall over here, paint over here. And, I'd fix this. I fixed the closet didn't line up. So we'd fix that. And I kept raising my prices. And eventually he got to the point where Frank made, you're too expensive. I go, you're too cheap.
Nice.
and then I go, Frank, I love you like a brother. For us to keep our relationship, I think we shouldn't work together anymore. And that was the best thing for us at all. But then I started like saying, I'm going out and, I had the company Dex and More, and I just started marketing it. And then, the crazy thing happened. I still can't believe I couldn't replicate this today. My first year in business, Chris, Alan, I did 700 appointments.
Wow.
In 1 year. I get up at 7 a.m. I get my, get out the truck, get out to the job about 8:30, get the guys lined up, get them the materials they need. And I do this for we got 3 jobs going on or 4 jobs, and run around till about noon. And then from noon, or then from I'd have a 1 o'clock, a 4 o'clock, a 6 o'clock appointment for new business. And I may be up in Alpharetta and I live in Smyrna, go to a O'Charlie's or a Longhorns, eat a dinner, come back at 9, watch TV from 9 to 10. And then from 10 to 12 or 1 o'clock midnight or 1 a.m., I do proposals. And I did that for 10, 15 years.
Oh my God.
I mean, I literally, at least I did 700, got down to 500. I was 400 to 500 appointments a year. It was just too much. And then finally, I guess I got to take a step back.
How were you generating those appointments right off the bat?
It was Service Magic.
Oh, the precursor to
what
today is now Angie's, but
yeah.
Service Magic became Home Advisor because Service Magic got a bad rap. Then Home Advisor got a bad rap.
Yeah.
And then Angie's bought them, and Angie has a bad rap.
Yeah.
Oh, they're the worst right now.
Yeah.
All right, so you're using Service Magic to get your leads.
Yeah, I did that for about the first 5 years.
First 5. So you went from 2001 to 2006 that way then, right? Okay. So recession hadn't hit yet, 2008, and you're focused really in doing decks, and you found guys who could do the work. So you weren't really swinging hammers at that point.
No, I was blessed to find my first 5 years, I had a whole bunch of different crews. And then on my 5th year, I finally got some core crews that I still have today.
Why did you choose decks specifically?
Alan, it's real simple. It's just platform framing.
Okay.
And it's not that complicated. But one of my first big jobs I ever did was a sunroom with a gable frame, vaulted ceiling. And the concept of building, it's the guys I use, they go, Frank, these big homes that you live in, that we framed all these things. So doing a hip roof, shed roof, a gable roof, vaulted ceiling was elementary to them. So doing these little decks and putting a little roof on it, porch deck, whatever, it's a piece of cake.
So in the beginning, as you started your business, you said I kept raising my prices and I had to leave. So what I think everybody probably hears on the podcast is, you're right, raise your prices, make a ton of money. So you were killing it. You're probably just charging out the wazoo right off the bat, right?
Well, in the beginning, I was probably 30% more than the average person. And I think it really, and then about 2004, we did 63 jobs. And that's actually a really good number for us. But then it's you know what? I'm getting too much work. And then I started raising prices. And then it went to 50, 55, then 50, then it went down to 40 to 30. It's not the number of jobs, but now it's the scale. So I'm more on a higher end, but we totally get what you pay for. And then we're going after a niche. When I was at 2005, I said, I'm not doing this. I'm stopped doing this bidding war stuff. I'm going to do higher end quality. I'm going to take high quality pictures. We're going to put it on our portfolio. We're X amount of dollars, but we're worth it because we care.
So you started off 30% higher than most people?
Yes.
At the very beginning. And we've talked about this before, haven't we, Chris?
Right. This is why I wanted to bring this up. This is anti everything we've talked about.
Absolutely. Because, there's a certain element of, okay, you know what you're worth, but the marketplace doesn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, how are you getting your first and second and third customer to go ahead and buy? Was this all the door-to-door sales experience that you had, or Frank is a silver-tongued devil? What? I mean, come on.
It really comes down to perceived value. And I go up against guys and I look at their quote and it's handwritten. It's a few little sentences. I remember one time I did a job. It was Johns Creek and it was Mr. Eric. And he goes, Frank, you're 50,000 for this porch deck. Yeah, I'm 49.9, whatever, rounded up to 50. I got another quote for 35,000. And I go, what's it say? It's got 2 lines. porch. One was porch. One was deck. One was 20,000. One was 15,000. I go, well, is he going to paint it? Well, I don't know. Is he going to do a finished ceiling on there? Well, I don't know. Is he going to do gutters? Well, I don't know. Is he going to do the electrical that we talked about? I don't know. Just why don't you do this, Mr. Why don't you call the guy? Calls the guy up. He goes, oh, it's just a base shell. He goes, oh, no finished ceiling, no electrical, no gutters, no paint. He goes, well, add those things in. He goes, well, I'm 48.8 and I'm at 49.9. I'm just going to deal with Frank.
Nice. I think when you do that, he just brought this up with the customer. So, hey, I'm 50. This person's 35. Does he have this? I don't know. Let me insert what they really say. I hope so. Do they do this? I hope so. Let me do this. I hope so. Yeah, I hope. I'm going to justify my very analytical thinking as a CFO, a CIO, a CEO of a company in a Fortune 500 company. I'm going to do all that analysis and go, yeah, I'm going to go with the cheaper guy because he's going to do the same thing you are. Yeah. And we know that that's just absolute BS, but it's the sales process where you got to get these guys to convince. So he came in, and let's go back to this again. And that's where Frank, we haven't gotten to his business model that he's in today. But as a deck builder, because you were primarily decks even when you started, you focused on decks, and you would do the 700 appointments, work your nuts off, get all the way around to the stuff. But you were still 30% higher than everybody else, where most of us come in, underbid ourselves, kick ourselves in the credit, just get killed. And he's always been able to do that and pull it off.
How did you even know how to price things when you first started?
I mean, the one thing is I ask. There's another book I read, They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan.
Love that one. Yep.
But like I said, I talk to other guys. I may even talk to a builder, I may talk to this person. And like I said, I didn't know, but I knew I could figure out the materials. I could figure out what the labor was. And I had a certain percentage I need to make this viable. And if somebody couldn't, afford it, even in the early years, so that's too much or whatever, that's okay. Or maybe I'd be the right contractor for you. And I learned that from my good friend, Dan Weidman Remodeling.
Who we've had on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a couple episodes before you. Yeah.
Yep. And so it's like I said, it's okay to say no. I mean, I learned that from him from the very beginning. And just like I had so many appointments, so many proposals out there, I was like, we're not going to get everyone. Yeah.
So when you started your business, did you have a business plan? Did you have, this is how I'm going to market, this is how I'm going to convert leads, this is how I'm going to operate, this is a system, I'm going to use a technology platform to enable my process? Did you have all that when you started?
No, absolutely not. But I had the sales plan, and I kept evolving it, and I kept pivoting it. And even to this day, I'm surprised at the success I have, but I just don't quit.
Yeah.
Just like I said, if the biggest thing, even my friends, they told me, goes, failure's not failure. You got to classify it as a learning experience.
Yep.
My very first job, my very first real job was a sunroom for Mr. Thomas. I sold it for $21,500. Guys, I lost $10,000.
Hard money.
$10,000. Now, I left my Quest communications job, and they had some politics or whatever. There was a $10,000 commission check that was held, and it came in just in time to cover my loss.
Wow.
And I call that divine intervention.
Yep, that's a God thing.
Yeah, and basically now it's like, okay, take a step back.
Yeah.
What'd you do right? Not many things. What'd you do wrong? A whole bunch of things.
Right.
You can't do that again. If I do that again, I'm out of business.
So, Frank, you started in 2001. We're in 23 today.
Yeah.
And we like to talk a lot about scaling.
Yes.
And so how many employees do you have right now?
I mean, I've got 3 crews. I've got basically 9.
Employees or 1099s?
1099s.
Exactly. How many employees of Frank's Decks and More LLC are there right now?
Just one.
There you go. So wait a minute. Why are we talking to him about scaling? Well, let's talk about this for a minute. Frank,
there's a twinkle in Frank's eye.
Yes. So Frank, in 2000, let's fast forward. Let's get past the recession. 2010, 11. So let's call it 2012 or 13, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What were you doing in revenue then?
I was probably just maybe 900,000, just barely below $1 million.
Okay. And today?
2.9 last year.
There we go. So he just tripled business.
Mm-hmm.
He has the same one employee. He has 3 crews running. He's a 1099 model to develop what he does, but he doesn't have anybody else doing sales. Nobody else does design. It's just Frank. So Frank's Dex and More business tripled. So Frank, that's why I was excited to have you come on, because a lot of times we think, and I didn't say a lot of times, I have to think that way. For me to scale my business, I need more people.
Sure.
I mean, I got to get more efficient always, but I still need more people.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask the elephant in the room questions. How do you take a vacation? What happens when you get sick?
I mean, like I said, I need to take more vacations.
You need
absolutely
to be
right.
Chris can teach you a few things about that.
Yeah. That's why I hire more people.
Yeah. And like you said,
Tahoe, here I come.
Yeah. Like you said, I need to just pencil it in and just take it. And that's something I need to do. I line to go on like 3 or 4 vacations this year. But once again, my vacations are like, okay, I'm leaving Wednesday. I'll take it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be back Monday. So I do these little 4-day vacation things. And like I said, I'm so blessed and so thankful that, I went from 700 appointments down to 100 appointments.
And so that's one of the reasons he was able to scale. So you're right. In Frank's model, it definitely, the big risk is it all hinges on Frank. Frank, the proverbial hits by a bus tomorrow, the business ceases to exist. Yeah. It probably won't work. That's the way it works. But one of the areas, so he knows that risk, and we all know that risk, and that's what happens. And the second thing is, if you just heard what Frank said, how was he able to scale and move, is that he stopped doing free estimates. He stopped doing 700 appointments with Service Magic, Home Advisor, Angie's List. He says, nope, no to that. Now 100 appointments a year. There's only 365 days in the year. So that's 100. So there's 12 months in a year. So that's less than 10 appointments a month he's going on. There's 30 days in a month. So now he's in less than, so that means only 10 days a month, potentially, if he doubles up, maybe there's only 10 days a month he has to sell. So how are you able to, Frank, to get to that model of, I don't do free estimates and I qualify? So talk us through the qualification process and how you do things.
Sure. I take a call, and basically I try to build a rapport with the client. Say, first I figure out where they are. If they're in Athens, Georgia, or if they're in Tennessee, it's not a good fit. We got to qualify them geographically. I qualify them on their time. If they're 6 months to a year out, I'll give you some basic information, but call me when you're ready. And then the third one is, tell me what you want. Okay. You don't need to tell me your budget. You tell me what you want. I'm going to tell you how much this thing's going to run in a wide range over the phone. If it's a good fit, let's meet and let me, like I said, I'll ask you a few questions. You'll have some questions for me. And if we sit down, I want to design something that's going to best suit your needs. And the key thing is, it's totally different. And so many people, they got a project, and I got a call today. And the guy's in Peachtree City. We don't like to service that area, but he had a big project, and he goes, Frank, I want to tear down the deck. Okay, great. He goes, I want to build a porch deck combination. I go, great. And he goes, you want an entertaining side outside and covered? Yeah. I want some composite material. Great. And I want a staircase over here. And I want the fancy lighting. Not a problem. And then he goes, I want an outdoor kitchen. I already bought the components for the outdoor kitchen. Great. We can work with that. I go, before we go any further, I go porch, deck, staircase, composite, outdoor kitchen. I go, sir, you're looking at 200,000 to maybe 180,000. I think we're starting just under 200,000. And he goes, I got a guy who said he could do it for 65. I go hire him. That's not I can't even get the material for that big of a job for that.
Right. Exactly right.
So
you do that, and so that's the hard part. So he doesn't go out and take a swing, and he actually sits back and says, "Nope, I'm not coming out for a free estimate unless you pass my qualification criteria."
What at this point?
Still, by the way, has tripled his business, right?
Yeah. What percentage of your business now comes from referral?
It should be more, but it's probably close to about 25%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, all right.
I wish it was, like I said, the funny thing is I get a lot of referrals, and people want what we do, but sometimes the people don't tell them what they paid.
Well, I was going to say, because often when you get a referral, the person referred understands the deal. It's like, okay, Frank may hit you with a number. Here's going to be the process. So they're not pre-qualifying them for you that much.
Some are and some aren't.
Mm-hmm.
We just got a referral. We just got a referral from a client, and it was a great referral. We did about $130,000 job for him, and they wanted something. They loved us. They loved the fit, the finish, and everything. But their job, I go, your job's going to start 110 to 100,000, and then he's got some young kids. They got a nice house. He's got a full house with like a wife and 4 kids, and 2 kids are starting college. And he was smart. He goes, Frank, I don't want to sign a retainer to do design. Let me go finance this. Let me go get the money. And I appreciate that. But then after about 6 or 8 weeks, it goes cold, and they didn't move forward. Obviously, he didn't get the financing he wanted or whatnot. But that's one of the challenges. And just go ahead.
I was going to say, and now you're in a magazine with 3 national awards on that particular job.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Do you mind me asking what's the value of the job in that one?
Oh, that I think total, he probably that particular job was well over 600,000 for everything, maybe 650 with the furniture.
That did you guys scope out the whole thing? I mean, that's pool, that's outdoor living center 1, outdoor living center 2,
landscape.
Oh, it looks like a community clubhouse, right? Scenario.
And it's this house.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So Frank said referral business at 25% should be higher, and you're right.
Yeah.
So I'll admonish you for that on the podcast. There you go. Yeah. Get it higher.
Yeah.
But when it comes to marketing and advertising, you have a unique approach as well on how you do it. Talk a little bit about how you spend your marketing and advertising dollars to build your business.
Okay. I outsource. The reason I can grow is because I outsource. I outsource my bookkeeping to a bookkeeping company. I outsource the marketing, and I use this company called Reach Local. We have a website called AtlantaDeckBuilder.com. They developed that site. We add different videos and different things on it. They probably responsible for at least 50 to 60% of all the leads coming in. And, we got a long-term relation. I've been Reach Local now for like 12 years, and I pay them dearly, but they get the results.
Right. So a good plug for Reach Local for you on that. And that's helped you do it. Obviously, you're the number one sales conversion guy, qualifying lead, but you've done that. Some other things that you've done to build your presence here locally is?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I love, for at least marketing, I love My Home Magazine. I've been in them probably since 11th month I started. So we've been 21 years in that magazine. I do little flyers here and there, some one-offs or whatever. And then I've got my, another website, which is dexandmore.biz. And, we do some organic, marketing on that. Just to give you an idea, all the marketing and also I do some videos with Donna Davis, Pro Video Talent. I probably invest about $100,000 a year in marketing and advertising. It generated 2,400 calls. Out of 2,400 calls last year, I only went on 100 appointments, and that's a good thing. And
right.
And out of 100 appointments, 46 engaged for design. We closed 24 out of 46, which is 52%, $2.9 million in revenue.
So he knows his numbers. That's the other thing I wanted to kick back because I knew that was coming. He knows his numbers, knows how to do it. The thing that is probably for a lot of people, you're sitting there, if you're driving in your car, going around, you're like, man, but he could get so much more. Well, listen, no, he can't, but he could, but he doesn't. What? Right. It's all of it. Yeah. If you look at those numbers and hear that, I've often talked about this. I talk about this in my book.
Oh, your book.
Oh, thank you, Alan. I'm surprised you've talked about it.
Let's talk about your book, Chris.
But, I'm so glad because Frank came here and he said, Chris, could you sign my book? And I'm like, you know what? I definitely want this guy on my podcast. You? Nothing. No, I'm kidding. Actually, Alan, of course, endorsed it. But going back to it again, we have a vanity line. Hey, Chris, how much did you do last year? I did $5.2 million. Hey, Chris, how much did you keep last year? $100,000. What? Yeah. Whoa. Hey. Whoa. Your net didn't sound so good there, tough guy. So when I listen to Frank and when he talks with other people, and we're part of NARI together and Nadra, you see him out networking, and when we talk and just get together for beers and whatever. I don't think a lot of other people truly appreciate how well he's been able to scale and streamline his business, because he still only has really one employee, triple his business, outsource, qualification, sticks to what he knows best. And what does he know best? He knows how to knock on a door and turn Mr. Thomas, Baltimore Orioles and sailing fan into an ADT customer.
Yeah.
It's got to be pretty powerful for those people when you show up and you're the owner of a business that's been around that many years and they're dealing with the owner. I mean, that just puts you head and shoulders above any other salesperson that's out there.
But it's also, I appreciate that. And I think it is. When you're dealing with the owner, people do like that. But it's also the ability, like so many salespeople, they have their canned speech or this or that. And I even had that in the beginning. Now I become more conversational. I go, here, Miss Johnson, I appreciate you inviting me out here. What would you like to do? And then, I like this one job, Mrs. Griffin. We just finalized it on, I think it was Tuesday or Monday. And she was telling me, she goes, I want to do this, and I want to do the Chippendale rail. And the other client, the contractor, it was battling her on the Chippendale rail. And I go, I try to be the can-do contractor. Yes, we can do the Chippendale rail. You want this deck bigger, not a problem. You want the staircase over here, we can make it happen. That reassures it, like reassuring. It's like, wow, we're the can-do contractors. Whatever your heart desires, just show me a picture. We can make it happen. So,
yeah, I think that's big. How he does that like that. One of the other things I want to talk about this. So you do very well. We all do very well, and different levels of success for all people, and different definitions of success. And we talk about this on the podcast quite a bit. So Frank, your definition of success, I don't know what it is. I don't know if you have it off the top of your head. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Sure.
But one of the things I've noticed is that you've also given back.
Oh.
Talk a little bit more about how you've given back.
Like I said, I think I found the good Lord in 2010. Okay. Thank you, guys. And you talk about giving back. I always like to give back, and I think I started actually in 2005. And there's like different charities. There's about a dozen charities I like to give to. A lot of military charities like Toys for Tots. And I started that, and even I brought my daughter in. Like every year, we give them a little bit of money, but the main thing is buying a shopping cart. And I told my little Ava, okay, we're going to go help, bring gifts and joy to people on Christmas. You get to pick one gift, but you got to help Daddy fill the shopping cart full. And so that's something we do, like almost like a little tradition. But then it kind of spoiled her. It's like, well, isn't Santa Claus going to bring the gifts for the kids? So we had that dilemma we had to say.
Yeah,
That's
a little
funny.
explaining to do.
Yeah, no, you've done a great job. Again, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but definition of success isn't always about how much you're bringing home, but as you brought it home,
yeah,
you were able to share it with people that mean a lot to you, and show yourself in a meaningful way to ministries that mean it. And so I think that's always been one thing I've been very impressed with Frank as we've talked, is that at the Trusted Toolbox, we give to Children's Healthcare of America, Atlanta, because it's impacted two of my employees' lives significantly, and they're very personally attached to it, and I felt personally attached to it as well. Even though they've helped me, but not as significantly as these guys. I'm like, at least we're giving back to a organization that really does something. So that's felt good for our team, for our company. One of the comments and the thing I thought was really interesting that I learned at this conference that I went to in Chicago is that a guy in Wisconsin talks about his customers actually being co-producers of his charitable giving. And I was like, that's a really interesting concept, right?
It is.
And so here's the deal. When they go out there and they sell a set of windows or they sell a one-day bathroom, what they'll talk about is that the proceeds from this will go back to a veteran.
Yeah.
And it will be a one-day bath makeover for a veteran. We're going to pick one at the end of the year. And so our money goes to doing that. We would love for you to be part of that as we sell you your bathroom. That proceeds from that the money you've given us, you will be part of the group giving back. And so you make them co-producers.
Yeah, that's a cool concept. I like that.
Yep. And I'm trying to figure out how to do a better job of weaving that in, because Especially right now with people that we're going to start marketing to that are coming online, and they're the millennials. They want to know that we're a conscious company. They want to know that we're environmentally conscious, socially conscious, whatever consciousness they want us to be. That's what they want to know, is that we're not just some AT&T behemoth, or we're not some Standard Oil. Let's pick a name that's never been around in their life, Standard Oil behemoth.
Sure.
They want to know that you're giving back. And I think while you don't promote that with your customers, I know you don't, but I thought about this and went, I'm going to use it for my own advantage.
How can I use charity to make me more money?
That's right. And so I'm not as altruistic as Frank, but that's why Frank's on the podcast, because you're getting wholesomeness from Frank. That's Dex and more, and you're getting the greedy SOB over here in the corner. So now you know why I have deck envy.
Yeah. Well, I can see it. Yeah. I'm assuming, okay, you do your sales a little differently. Your giving back is different. Your scaling is different. Talk to me about your crews and your employees and how you're retaining them. And you mentioned earlier that you picked up a couple of leadership tips from the Army. I want to hear what those are.
Let's go to leadership tips, from the Army. And there's so many of them, but the one thing that I really remember, and I screwed up, and I had this, I don't know if it was Scottish or, I think it was Scottish.
Well, you got to do the accent.
And he goes, it was Staff Sergeant Raymond Taylor. And he goes, Private Pologruto, did you park the vehicle remote to? And I go, yes, Sarge, I did. I'm from Jersey. It's the way we speak. He's drop by your tongue, drop it, give me 20. And I go, Vinny, like Sal, he asked me a question. Give me an answer. What am I doing over here? But he loved me. He loved me so much. He was really hard on me. But when he asked me that question, it wasn't in front of everybody. He pulled me to the side. He knew I screwed up. And then he goes, listen, you're going to do the 20 push-ups. You're going to get that vehicle. You're going to get it washed. You're going to get it in the motor pool, and you report back to me. And he goes, no ifs, ands, or buts. And I did that, But, and he was smart. He didn't berate me in front of everybody. He pulled me to the side.
Right. Nice.
Praise in public, berate in private.
Right.
That's the one of the leadership skills. And then also, like I said, I was in the beginning, Alan, I was probably a hard ass. A lot of older, Frank, I had a potty mouth. I got mad at vendors and was hot tempered. I had a little bit of that military drill sergeant type of thing. But then I realized I'm not getting through these people. And all of a sudden, I had to take a step.
He clearly is not doing it correctly.
No.
I'll give him tips on how to do that.
Yeah, you got to have the potty mouth and the hot temper.
Yeah, they love it. They absolutely.
They're going to take your Italian card away from you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. I know. He's becoming un-Italian. It's like ripping off the horn. Yeah. You can't wear the horn to school. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Now you're bringing up deep-seated things, because I went to Catholic school, and my dad says I don't think you can wear the horn anymore.
Yeah. No, but also, like I said, the teams. I mean, our guys are so talented and so skilled. And then I had to sit down with them and go, "What do you guys want?" And they go, they were looking for steady work. They want to be respected, and they want to get well paid. So I got to figure out, what type of pay are you looking for? And I'll be the first one to tell you, I probably overpay. I've got 3 head carpenters that are going to make over $100,000 a year. 2 guys made over $150,000 last year. But when you pay them this much money, they're like project managers. I'll tell you a quick story. Had a job. It was in Canton. It was really Waileska. And that's very far from us, further north, and I think in the Cherokee.
That's way up there.
Yeah, I think it's Bartow County. But we're doing a composite. The lady begged me to come out. She saw my reviews, saw my videos, and I came out. We hit it off. And so we're doing this deck. It's composite. She wanted this rail. She wanted a French door and another door replaced. She wanted to save money. So I gave her all the technical specs for the French door. That went off with a hitch. There's one single door down below, and we measured it. It's 32 inches. I told her 32 inches, this jam set, this type of thing. And she went to Lowe's, and the guy said, you don't know what you're doing. I sold her a 36-inch door. It's the wrong size. The lady, Miss Betty, was all flustered. My guy goes, my guy Lupe goes, where'd you get it? He goes, Lowe's. Do you have the receipt? He goes, yeah. He goes, we'll take care of it. Gave him their receipt, changed the door, installed the door, got her a $20 store credit. She didn't have to do anything.
Hmm.
I didn't even find out about the situation until the next day. And she called me to thank me.
So there you go. You empowered people to be the face of your company. That's the phrase I use in my company. But that's the Ritz-Carlton model. When the customer's in front of you, you take care of the customer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're the person opening the door. I don't care if you're the janitor. I don't care if you're the accountant for the entire organization. In fact, I've had my accountant actually worked at Ritz-Carlton. I was telling him a story how I used Ritz-Carlton in my training, and we've heard about this before. And he said, as an accountant, I was walking the halls. I was walking to go to a meeting. That's what it was. I was walking to go to a meeting, and a customer asked me a question, and they wanted to know how to get to this one conference room. And he said, our training says I had to show him how to get to the conference room. So I took him to the conference room. I was late for my meeting, and I was getting told that I was late for my meeting. That's unacceptable. And he said, all I had to say was I had to escort a customer to their location. And everybody just went, oh, okay, great. Thank you. All right. Yeah. So that's what Lupe did for you. And Lupe, again, and a lot of guys, I've talked about this with the Home Service Institute clients that we have. Your guys are 1099s. And so I told people, I'm like, hey, my training works for employees. They're like, nah, all I have is 1099s. I'm like, if you think about it, right, this training applies to 1099s because they're still the face of your company. They're still delivering a product or a service outside as part of your company. People are buying you. Now, they're not buying this subcontractor thing. They're buying you. And so Lupe bought into what you do and what you touch. So number one, praise publicly and berate privately. Number two, B. Make these guys empower the people to do it. Yeah. All right, keep going.
And like I said, and so many guys in our industry, and I hear from so many different contractors. And there was a study done. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. I've seen it with my uncle. I've seen it with smaller guys. I am the boss. I know everything, and this and that. And I'll be the first one to tell you, guys, I don't know everything. I need your help. I need your input. I need your assistance. I'll plug Paul Wilfog. Probably 12, 15 years ago, I had a sunroom addition, and we're doing a window layout. And I'm talking to him, and he goes, Frank, you could do this, but the one I really like is this. He showed me a picture window. It's like a 6x8, and then 2 casement windows on the side. And then we did match this, match that. And then the one side went to the deck. We put the door there, and it was perfect. Matter of fact, that one time that won us a national award, and we replicated that same design about 5 or 6 times on sunrooms. Matter of fact, I still use it today. So that wasn't me. That was Paul. I'm like, how would you lay out these windows?
Nice. Great. So leverage experts to help you and them. All of us win when you leverage and ask for help.
Yeah. And
we've heard so that's awesome too.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming to the end. I know we have a lot of leadership lessons from private Pologruto.
I mean, like I said, another thing is like, I love my guys. One of my guys came to me, and we had a set price to do the job. And he's finished the job, and he had some difficulties. He had a little bit of challenge. He had to reframe this and reframe that. And he goes, Frank, I need $2,000 more. And I go, well, we agreed on $7,000. And he goes, Lupe, so you spent a little bit more money than you anticipated. He goes, yes, I need $2,000 more. I go, level with me. No BS. How much are you out of pocket? How much are you out of pocket? He goes, $700. I got to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you $1,000. I'm going to meet you halfway. But like I said, I'm going to take care of you, take care of me. I know you had one extra day or a half day to do this or that, and it was a challenging job. Some guys are just hard asses. That's all. We agreed. We have the agreement. We have this. We don't pay. I give. And like I said, when you give a little like that, he's like, all right. He was really out of pocket, $700. I gave him $1,000. I gave him $300 more than he should have, but he asked for $200. So I'm not a pushover. So that little extra, I mean, if he gets jammed up or whatever, well, these jobs are complex. And I got one job. I know we're going to have at least 5 days of punch out on this one job. The lady is so particular. so particular. And I built it in there, and like I said, it's all going to work out, but it's just one of those things where so many guys are they're so strict, and like you got to be flexible.
Yeah, I think that's a big point. You can't be a pushover,
Yeah.
but you got to be flexible. And I think that engenders people to stay with you, that endears people to you, but you got to let them know. And I put this in my book, every once in a while, you got to pull out your sword and kind of nick them on the ear and let them know that the rules are the rules. I'm going to bend on this one, but don't do that again.
Yeah.
Keep on your stuff. So that was good stuff. I like it. All right. We're coming to the end. And Frank, we love what you're doing here. And you got to go check out Decks and More if you're here in Atlanta. And of course, if you're in Australia or Tasmania, or if you're over in England, I don't know if he's going to come build a deck for you, but hopefully you pick something up from this guy, man, because this guy has scaled a lot differently than a lot of people talk about. He scaled a lot differently than I have, and he's got a lot of great information, but he is also a national award-winning deck builder. Yeah. I can't say that. I'm a national award-winning handyman.
I just love the fact that he can do his business so completely differently and still be successful.
Pretty cool, right?
Great? Yeah, it's really great.
I think it's awesome. Yeah. But that doesn't mean we're not going to put him on the hot seat and ask the last 4 questions.
That's right.
Let's go do this. All right, Frank, you mentioned a lot of great motivational speakers. You talked about your headphones with your Walkman and your fancy DVDs or CDs at the time, because he was way past 8 tracks, way past AM radio. Well, welcome to the show. So what is the favorite book you would refer to our customers with?
I mean, I love John Gordon, Jon, John Gordon, The Energy Bus.
The Energy Bus.
The Energy Bus. Joy, the bus driver. And I love, like I said, I love his books, The Training Camp. He also has Positive Dog, Hard Hat. I mean, they're short, easy to read. They got a real positive message. I think Relationship Grit's another book but I just love John Gordon.
And he used one of my favorite coaches of all time, of now my new adopted team in the NFL, the Atlanta Falcons, Mike Smith.
Yes.
And he talked about that. And Mike Smith, I'll never forget that, talked about not being able to follow the process. I tell my guys this a lot: trust the process. So what's our goal?
Yeah.
Right. We each have personal and professional goals. And in the NFL, the goal for the Falcons was to win the first game, and then to win 2 in a row, and then to win the first quarter of the games, win the second quarter of the games, be above 500 after. He had all these rules on their way to making it to the Super Bowl. When they were 1 game away, 1 catch away, 1 play away from the Super Bowl, they lost.
Yeah. The
next year, they got so caught up in this that he said the goal was to win the Super Bowl, and he lost sight of trust the process and stay in the process. And your goals are, on the in the training years right now, getting ready, it's the OTAs and doing this. And he said, and then he lost the culture and he lost the team. And a great example of that was, sources say that Mike is about to be fired. And he said, I used to meet with our owner and our general manager on a bi-weekly basis, twice a week. And towards the end, we started to meet every other week. And then it's just once a week to brief him on the game plan. And but we never talked about the stuff we had talked about 2 years ago when we were only 1 play away, 1 catch away from the Super Bowl. And that was all the Energy Bus. Yeah. And that's a great testament to the Energy Bus. So John Gordon, Energy Bus, go check it out.
Yes. Love it. Love it.
All right. What is this is going to be I think this is kind of a slam dunk, right? I mean, this is going to be easy to ask the question.
We can answer that one for him.
All right. Your favorite future house is?
My deck.
Thank you. How big is your deck at home?
You got to realize
what? Did you ask that? I did just ask it.
Do you trim the bushes around your deck like Chris does?
I just try to make I like to present. It's all the presentation of my deck. Yes. That's what I'm trying
to
talk
about. The bushes, the deck looks bigger, doesn't it?
Does look bigger.
Well, the funny thing is, I don't have a deck. I've got a screened-in porch.
Whoa!
I've got a stone patio. I've got an outdoor kitchen. I call it the outdoor oasis, and that's what we create. The outdoor oasis.
All right. So is that your favorite feature?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
You don't even have your own wood deck. It's a stone patio.
It's the wood porch. It's a wood porch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I would much rather have a patio than a deck.
Oh, trust me.
Yeah.
Yes, you would. And yes, I would too.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm totally like, all right.
Yes.
See.
All right. We have a 4 question. Number 1, was your book. Number 2 was your favorite feature. So C. Follow with me at home, people.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Way to catch up, Chris.
What is a customer service pet peeve of yours?
When you're the customer.
If I'm the customer,
Yeah, you're in a restaurant, you're going to a store, you're going to a game, you're enjoying yourself. What's a customer service pet peeve? What's the one thing that you're like, that just tweaked me?
it just like when they serve the food. I know lately, especially with COVID, they're short staffed. You serve the food, usually they always come back and they see how you're doing. But then it's like, if my glass is half full, I got to be smart enough to ask, will they refill it? I love when the waiter and server just, I'll get a refill on that for you. That's sort of like my pet peeve. You come back to see how we're doing, just look at the glasses. If they're half full, fill them up. That's what
I think that's an interesting point. You brought that up because we had not heard that. And now we're going almost on to 100 episodes. And nobody ever said, when you walk up to the table, read the room.
Yeah.
The guy's out of Diet Coke. The guy's out of Coke. The guy's out of coffee. The guy's out of water. The lady's needs her drink refreshed. The lady doesn't have a cocktail anymore. He's sitting there with her trying to make sure she gets loaded so he can get happy tonight. Come on, girl. Give her hypothetically, of course, guys.
I can't believe that you just went right there.
Hey.
No, that one rolls into my pet peeve, which is they bring the meal and then the server comes back out, who is all chipper to begin with, and how is everything? And I haven't taken a bite. Drives me nuts. I'm like, plug your eyes into your brain and take a look at the table, and you can see I've not had a bite of this meal. I have no idea how it is.
Yeah,
looks pretty.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah,
great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, good job. It could be dog food. It could have came out of the microwave.
It could be all plastic.
You could have pulled the European vacation, plop, microwave, put a little flag in it.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Here we go. Frank's on the hot seat. We want a DIY contractor nightmare story. You don't have to be your contractor, but if it was a DIY one, I want fire, petulance. I want locusts, water,
blood.
Blood's dismemberments, even better. Of course, I have all 10. But
they're not pointing in the same direction they were originally given.
They were definitely not pointing in the same direction. That's more sports related.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a few wounds in there when I used the old hand clamp when I was using the nailer. So what's a DIY nightmare story for you?
I got 2 stories, but I'll tell you, the one recently, something was happening with my dishwasher and there was a leak. So I pull out the dishwasher. I'm like, I got to fix this and this and that. And then I tried to do simple duct tape it up, and this wouldn't do. And then I try to tighten this up, and then the leak starts going everywhere. I got some of this Flex Seal, the spray on,
like as seen on TV.
Yeah, I see on TV.
Yeah.
I got that. I'm in, when I got my dogs running behind me, they're licking up the water, and it's like the black spray goes everywhere. And I'm just like, I can't believe this shit. I just turned off the water and I just threw my hands up because I was like done. I was like, I'll call the plumber in the morning. I just like.
I like the fact that a nationally award-winning businessman in construction can admit the fact that he just punted that deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am. So, all right. So I'm stunned because he just pulled the old. I was using Flex Seal. So when we close up this podcast, he is absolutely going to be admonished by me. I'm like, what the hell were you thinking? You don't use Flex Seal like that. Because I had a customer went to a guy's house and his shower was leaking from above, right? Mm-hmm. So it's leaking down into his basement. He has a wood floor, he has wood joists, and it's leaking because his other contractor, who did a quote. My other contractor was really nice and he did a beautiful job, but I don't know why this water's coming down. I said, okay. So that's where we're at. I said, okay, I see this black stuff up on the bottom of this wood. I said, well, what is that? He goes, well, I tried to stop the leak, so I sprayed Flex Seal. I said, you realize you sprayed Flex Seal on the back side of the wood, so all the water is going to go into the wood. He goes, yeah, but it wouldn't come down here. I said, okay. So here I've identified customer, right? Yeah. So build rapport. So I'm bonding, I'm reporting.
You can't call him a dumbass right now.
But oh my God, was it not flying in my head?
Oh yeah.
And that's all I could keep thinking was dumbass, 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 dumbass. And I couldn't get out of it too. And by the way, I did not win that job. He went back to the guy who originally built it to redo it. I was like, definition of insanity. I think I found it.
Yeah,
Do the same thing over and over, expect a different result. Frank,
yes,
we've enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Hopefully you have as well.
Absolutely.
Great. I'm glad you guys got to come over. We love it when you get people in person because we have a lot more fun. Hopefully you have a lot more fun. You've been driving in your car. You're going in between appointments. Maybe you're checking us out, hearing what's going on. Maybe you got just a little bit. In fact, every time you listen to this, I hope you get just something. Just enough to say, you know what, these guys kind of entertain me a little bit. I got a little mind candy going on, but boom, I got something. Maybe you pick something up today. Figure out a way to put it in. Put it in your business. Put it in your mantra. Put it in your mindset. Do whatever you got to do because that's how we change ourselves each and every day. 99% of our thoughts could be good, but what the studies do show is that 90% of our thoughts are negative. Here's the good news.
Why is that, Chris?
Because we're negative people. Yeah.
You bastard.
Yeah. And there's only 10% that are positive. So hopefully you got some positive thoughts out of this. Take them, put them into action. And when you get into that negative mindset thoughts, stop yourself. Get yourself out of it. Find a trigger. I've been doing it. I've been trying it. And you know what?
You feel better?
No, it doesn't work. All right. Get out of here. We got to keep going. Come on. Let's go, Small Business Safari. Let's do this again. We out of here.
Cheers.
Thank you.